Oh my gosh. I can't breathe.
Oh no, I'm a doctor. Oh, she's in the ER. We gotta save her. We gotta get this woman onto the operating table. She's pregnant.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Excuse me, fellow doctor. How do you know that they identify as a woman?
Look at her. She's pregnant. She's a woman. Women get pregnant.
If they were conscious, they would be very offended right now. And I don't think they would appreciate being misgendered. Did they give you their pronouns before they passed out?
No, she's pregnant. Look, she needs to have the baby right now, or she's gonna die.
First of all, do we even know if they want this baby?
I would assume so. She's pregnant. Listen, we gotta just do the operation. That's me cutting open her stomach to take the baby out. No anesthetics. Got the baby. What? It's a beautiful baby boy, ma'am.
Did you just misgender my baby?
Are you serious? I saved your life and the baby's...
You're fired.
Fired from what? I'm the doctor.
This is medical malpractice. This doctor is a bigot.
I don't want your bigoted doctor saving my baby.
Oh, Ancine. No anesthetics.
Why were you crying when you were dead?
Yeah. Well, no, it's sad today.
I was laughing the whole time that you guys were doing that.
Amala didn't say she was gonna like have tears coming down her face while she was acting dead.
It was
She's
really
in a lot of
hard to
pain.
act dead with your guys' acting in the background. I'm gonna be honest. Anyways, hi guys.
I know our acting kills.
It literally kills. Literally kills. Hi guys. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. The reason that we did that opening skit is that there's been a sort of a new culture in medicine these days. I am still crying. A new culture in medicine these days where men and women aren't men and women anymore. Apparently, we need these sort of gender neutral terms. You can't misgender anybody. And there's a large push within medical education to stop students from using these terms.
What is medical education even more if you can't identify someone by their birth sex? That's a horrible thing to do.
Nothing gives me more comfort than the idea of having doctors who deny biological reality taking care of me. That as long as they're woke, we're good.
If a doctor doesn't call me a man, then I don't want that person as my doctor.
Oh, yeah.
They can just gender affirm you back to health.
Exactly. Completely unfit to practice. But anyways, we wanted to sort of educate ourselves and educate everybody watching on the greater implications that come along with this sort of cultural shift. So we had a guest on the podcast by the name of Colin Wright. He is an editor for Quillette magazine, and here's the interview.
All right, everyone, we are here with Colin Wright, who is the managing editor at Quillette and an evolutionary biologist. So we want to talk about the story about doctors and medicine and just the insanity going on there. But before we get into the story, I just want to hear a little bit about, because I'm not sure if everyone watching right now knows who you are, just a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, so right now I'm the managing editor over at Quillette. But just about a year ago, I was a full-time academic scientist, and I ended up leaving, long story short, because I started sort of writing essays and speaking publicly about what I saw was this rise of, I guess we would call it gender ideology, and specifically how it was denying the reality of the existence of male and female as natural categories. You'd see things like there are 5 sexes, there's 10 sexes, sex is a social construct or a spectrum. And so this just sort of offended me as a biologist and someone who cares about what's true in a biological sense. And so I started writing essays about this, speaking out against it. A lot of people didn't like the fact that I was speaking out against it. And so there was sort of a campaign to try to, poison the well about my name, tried not to get me hired at universities, things like that. And so I ended up leaving of my own will. I did have a chance to renew my contract over at Penn State where I was working before. But I decided that I kind of wanted to have more control over my future profession. And then luckily, Claire Lehman, the editor-in-chief at Quillette, she reached out to me and they had an opening for an editor there. And they offered me the job. At first, it was a temporary position, and then I was moved up to full-time. So that's what I've been doing ever since. And it's been really great. I don't have to worry about people trying to cancel me now. So
our audience loves to hear stories of what's happening behind the scenes in these sort of institutions. Can you think of a particular moment where you really questioned, what am I doing right now, before leaving your field?
Yeah, well, I had essay that I co-authored with a developmental biologist named Emma Hilton. And I had been applying to maybe hundreds of academic jobs that had them currently out. I was sort of on a Twitter hiatus because I had it on lockdown, so employers couldn't just search for myself on social media. And then I sort of broke that social media silence by having an article come out in the Wall Street Journal that was titled "The Dangerous Denial of Sex," which just went over what sex is, why it's important, who it harms, women, children, LGBT community. And then this created such a big backlash that students at Penn State were saying that they felt unsafe with the fact that I was on campus. And so that's when it really sort of dawned on me that even if I were to be able to get a tenure track position, like what are the chances I'm going to get tenure if I stay here when students are constantly saying that they just don't feel, included and safe with me just happily, studying my ants and wasps in the laboratory on campus. So that was sort of a wake-up call that environment is really not friendly to me, and that I probably need to jump ship. So that's exactly what I did.
Amazing. And we hope that the work that you're doing at Quillette is reaching people and hopefully changing minds. It doesn't seem like that's happening in the university space yet. And I wanted to get into this story that we wanted to highlight with you. This is an article from Barry Weiss's Substack written by Katie Herzog. And it talks about one story in particular out of the University of California. And I'm going to show this article to the audience watching as well, that a professor was doing an endocrinology course and apologized to the entire class for saying the term pregnant woman to everybody. How do you feel about that?
I think it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's getting more and more common. So there's a general assault on the language. What we're seeing is they don't want you to say that only women can have babies. They want to expand this to men and just the way people identify. But there is also part of that article too, a more fundamental denial of the existence of male and female as just real categories completely, not just you can identify as one or the other and biology remains static. No, there's sort of this underlying move to just abolish the underlying reality of biology in general. And this is something that I had commented on when the New England Journal of Medicine had recently had an article saying that we should not have sex on birth certificates anymore, that it should be removed or moved to below the demarcation line, along where just, the race and marital status of your parents is, just aggregate data rather than something that tells you information about yourself. And they even said something about your biological sex is not relevant for any sort of medical indicator. And so I had an article that just, showed all the ways that medical issues, certain, heart disease, how they express differently in males and females, and how, if we have our doctors that aren't acknowledging male and female in favor of just gender identity, I mean, this is literally lives that are at stake here. I mean, this isn't just, fun and games, and this isn't even just, trans women in sports anymore. We're talking about the symptoms of a heart attack and how they're going to present themselves differently. Or whether someone, I think they mentioned in that article too, presenting with abdominal pains and they were misdiagnosed as being a man, and so they didn't realize that this was a pregnant individual and that it resulted in the fetus actually dying. So yeah, it's extremely consequential. It's hard to believe this is even what we're talking about.
Yeah, the left wants us to call you a bigot for saying anything like that. That's the way that they operate. And I want to ask, because I was a biology major at one point, years and years ago, about 4 years ago. I failed all my classes, ended up dropping out of school for the similar reason why I think you left school. But I saw the similar things to what you're saying. Why is there this push to have this? Why, if people know, obviously, that the things you're saying are right? I don't think that all of these people on the left or in academia really think that you're wrong. I think that they might just be too scared to speak out against it or actually say what the truth is. Why do you see that there is this big push, especially when this push pushes out great scientists like you, among others?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think a lot of it is, again, just the fear to not want to push back against the LGBT community, because this is the community that's generally putting forward some of these ideas. And they have a track record of doing good things and making, having gay marriage and gay rights. And no one wants to be seen as sort of on the opposite side of that movement anymore. And so they'll almost do anything they can to just be in their good graces. Unfortunately, the movement has changed a lot, and now it's influenced heavily by, critical theory, specifically in this realm, queer theory, which is just trying to break apart binaries. It tries to deconstruct realities. It looks at things in terms of power dynamics. And it says, if you're saying that male and female are real, you're coming from a position of power, trying to maintain power. So it's just fundamentally just like kind of a reality denying ideology. And a lot of people are sort of ignorant that this is as bad as it actually is. I still have people telling me when I combat this type of nonsense that like no one's really claiming that biological sex doesn't exist, or I'm just confusing sex and gender and they still maintain this divide between the two, when that is just fundamentally not the case and hasn't been the case for years now, and people need to start catching up to what's actually being claimed. And I think a lot of people are. So that gives me some hope.
Right. The main pushback that we get when we talk about it on our program is, why does anybody care that a man wants to identify as a woman or a woman wants to identify as a man, or that we want to change these parts of our society? And you mentioned a few broader implications, especially in the field of medicine, that can occur when we sort of shift our culture in this way. If you can really articulate to the audience why this is problematic and what sort of changes they're going to see in their daily lives, what would you tell them?
Well, I mean, we had a feminist movement that was largely concerned with sex-based rights, and they achieved a lot over the years in achieving these. And if we're going to just completely decenter biological sex as the thing that we're having rights enshrined upon, or at least circled around, these sex-based rights become impossible to enforce. It also undermines the LGBT community, because we're seeing people saying that things like being a lesbian or being gay no longer means you're same-sex attracted. It means you're attracted to the same gender identity. So people have told me literally that I'm actually pansexual because I mentioned that Scarlett Johansson was attractive and I'd still be attracted to her, even if tomorrow she said she identified as a man and changed nothing else about her, just because it has to do with her identity. If she happened to identify as a man, that would then make me gay. And so we risk the successful normalization of the homosexual, the LGBT community, by undermining this. And then at a more fundamental level, this gender ideology we're teaching to kids teaches them really to be dissatisfied with their bodies, to be confused about the relations of their behavior to their sex, to maybe think that they're born in the wrong body when they just might have, gender non-conforming behavior that we tend to see a lot in LGBT youth. And so, and this specifically is a fast track to putting kids on things like puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and surgeries. And these are, by and large, irreversible, and we shouldn't be trying to fast track kids down any type of these medical interventions. So the list goes on. I mean, we could talk about trans women in sports too, and breaking records of women and of trans women in prison. It's just, there's so many aspects. When you deny a fundamental aspect of biology, like the fact that we're sexually dimorphic species, a lot of problems are going to start cropping up everywhere in our daily life. It's just too fundamental to what we are as a species.
Yeah, that is definitely the truth. And what it seems like is that most of this stuff seems to be child abuse. I mean, these things are hurting children. They're hurting people all over America, and it seems to be for an agenda that people are trying to push. It's funny, you're talking about the power dynamics. People talking about we want to keep power dynamics in place by talking about this. They are creating a power dynamic themselves that if you speak out against it, then you're not allowed to have any sort of power, right? So it's a totally hypocritic way of thinking that many of these people go around. But Colin, I want to say thank you for coming on the show, talking to us about this. It's not often that we get to have many experts to talk about these things. So
That's
it's very cool. We just have Amala. So
where can people find your work, Colin, if they want to hear more?
So I have a lot of articles I've written for Quillette. That's QUILLETT.com. I have a Substack called, I have my own domain now, so it's www.realitiesLastStand.com, where I talk a lot about the sex and gender debate and what sex is. You can also find me on Twitter. It's where you can mainly find me. My handle is @SwipeRight. That's WRIGHT. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome. We will link to his Substack down below for anybody watching that wants to support him. Colin, again, thank you so much for talking with everybody today.
Hey, awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
it's an amazing dude. He was on Joe Rogan the other day too. So he has a lot of influence. We're really happy to have him on and come and talk about these issues because they're important. And I don't think people understand the true implications of what this actually means. People think that it's like, oh, conservatives are just coming and they're complaining about transgenders in sports. They never cared about women's sports before, and now suddenly they care. It's like, it is a lot more than that, than just coming on and complaining about women's sports. Like, these are things that can hurt people in the medical field, hurt people in science, and it's going to stunt our development as a society if we can't look at science and medicine objectively how it should.
I love that his blog is called Reality's Last Stand. It definitely feels like that's the moment in which we're living. Is like there's so much pressure to just deny biological reality, just go along with the mainstream narrative that is like, well, let's just affirm all these imaginary genders and let's just pretend like this is the reality, and that everything is pointing us toward moving in that direction. And it takes courage at this point to be like, no, like I'm just going to acknowledge biological reality. I'm going to stay on that side of things.
Right. I don't think people realize how much it actually affects you, especially when it can lead to harm. In the medical field, it can actually lead to physical harm and death. And for doctors not to uphold their Hippocratic oath, which is doing no harm, it's a really frightening thing.
It is medical malpractice to misgender someone. And when I say misgender someone, I mean calling someone who's a man not a man, or not just assuming they're a man. Like that skit we did at the beginning, I know it was quite comical. But imagine someone comes in. Like, imagine this would happen. And someone was actually pregnant, they were a pregnant woman, and someone says, well, we need to wait and assume. It's like, that would be the worst thing you could possibly do. You should just assume it's a woman and do the surgery and make, I mean, it was obviously a fake surgery, fake situation.
Right.
With no anesthetics, not super perfect.
Just go in.
But you know what
there.
I mean? Like, you're going to hurt people. People are going to die if you misgender them in that way.
And it's already happening too on like it's literally science denial on the part of people who are practicing medicine, when we've seen it in the race thing. Like, some people of certain races are more susceptible to certain diseases, and that there's a movement now to suppress those differences, and because it's somehow racist to acknowledge that biological reality on the basis of race, just because there is actual physical differences. The same thing of like men and women, different differences. Like, there's just this effort to suppress the truth, suppress biological reality, and because the ideology is more important, and that is dangerous. And like you said, there are real victims and real harm that is caused by that.
I went to Florida Gulf Coast University asking students to define what a woman was. They couldn't define what a woman was. And then I asked them if women can have testicular cancer, and they said yes. How can a woman have testicular cancer? That is the most moronic thing I've ever heard in my life. Women don't have testicles. I don't think. I've never met a woman, but I would assume.
You've never met a woman?
What?
I've never known
What
a
am
woman.
I?
I don't know. I don't know.
You tell me.
Yeah, you tell me. But it's so backwards that is the way that young people are thinking in this country. And they're being taught to it by the professors of the university.
Yeah, when I was working in medicine and I would call up patients and sort of ask for their information, go through the whole onslaught of things that you have to ask them, a lot of patients would get upset when you ask them what their gender was, and a lot of patients would get upset when you ask them what their race is. And like Taylor said, there are certain things that you are more susceptible to when you are a certain gender or you are a certain race. Like, Jewish people are more susceptible to Tay-Sachs disease. Black people are more susceptible to sickle cell anemia. It's like, you need to ask these things to provide better health care. Blows my mind.
Oh, frat guys are more susceptible to chlamydia.
So I read.
So I heard. There's a lot of these types of things, It's important.
But it's really, I mean, nobody wants to give the right information anymore, especially when it comes to health. We're learning that right now with COVID-19. I think we're going to have Jack Poso on the show next week talking about something that he recently put out on Twitter, that we might have some lockdowns coming up the bend in blue states.
If we talk about this, I'm going to get too angry. And then Craig and Marissa are going to say, Will, that was too angry of you to talk about.
Okay, well, we'll let somebody else do the talking, because we have this great video of a young man confronting the advisors in his city at the Board of Supervisors meeting. So let's play that for you.
To us. Before I go further, though, I'd like to address Ms. Wilma Wooten and that propaganda that you were sharing. This is not factual. We've actually... being that we are not Cuba yet or North Korea, we still have access to the internet. And it's beautiful because your department has done a fantastic job of documenting the deaths in this county. So what I've done is taken that information which you've provided to ensure that I'm an informed citizen and I know when you're lying. So here we go. April 2021, there were 147 people who died in this county. Whatever the positive tests say with this PCR test, which we know to be unscientific and be used at 45 thresholds, which makes these positive tests false positives. We know this, and we also know that 147 people died in this county in the month of May, or forgive me, April. So let's go to May. How many people died in May? Miss Wilma Wooten was talking about how all these people are dying. 54. We had 54 deaths in the county of San Diego. I don't care about the positives because obviously the PCR test is bunk and we know that. So let's go back to the deaths because that's hard evidence that we can use. In the month of June, how many deaths did we have, Nathan Fletcher? 80. How many residents are in this county? 3 million? 3.3 million residents in this county, and we're using propaganda that Wilma Wooten is using from the PCR test that we know that has been tested to be bunk because we've had 80 people die in this county. How many rights are we going to take away before we look at the facts? We know what you're trying to do. There are good supervisors up here that are trying to fight for freedom like the Constitution, but where are the rest of you? Why are you silencing people and using this jargon to scare us into submission? When are you going to speak the truth, Wilma? We're calling you out because we, the citizens of America, are tired of these lies. We get lied to regularly. We're used to these lies. Who's going to stand up for the truth?
Oof, and that's where he ends it.
When you gonna speak the truth, Wilma?
Yeah.
Wilma, what the hell?
When are you going to do what's right, Wilma?
Yeah, Wilma, what are you doing, huh?
I just want to see what Wilma looks like because I'm
Yeah,
sure she's
I'd love
just
to see
like
Wilma.
sitting there like just groveling.
Shuddering.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something it's a very real thing that like these school boards, county supervisors, there's always like this small contingent of the woke ones who are the loudest and push the hardest for the lockdowns, for the critical race theory in schools. And the majority of parents, the majority of the citizens that they are elected to represent they're not reflecting their values and what they want. But there's somehow this disconnect where citizens aren't holding their leaders accountable. And so, kudos to this guy for doing what everyone should be doing and going out in front of them and calling them out by name to their faces. They're not used to being confronted. They're used to being just in their own echo chamber of people who agree with them and people who reinforce their crazy ideologies. And we need to burst their bubble and get more people who are out there, like the parents at the school board meetings, like this guy at talking to his county and just saying, hey, I'm an informed citizen. Here are the facts. I can see clear, plain as day that you're lying to me, and I'm calling you out right now. What you going to do about it? And that resonates, and he's having that impact at his local level. But we're talking about it right now on the podcast, and I think that, we were talking about this earlier with Will and I. We're seeing all this craziness. We're getting so tired of lockdowns and racism, and every day it's the same stuff. And it's like it does feel like we're hitting a breaking point. And the faster that can come, I think stuff like this is accelerating that. But I think more everyday people with common sense are just waking up and saying, how many more rights are we going to take away before we look at the facts? I love that.
It's tough, man. Like, I testified in state Congress here in California for a free speech thing. This was a couple months ago, and like all of the people on the left sitting there just totally ignored everything I said. There were very valid concerns about conservatives and free speech and college campuses, and it's like this guy coming up and saying this to Wilma, I believe was her name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't know if Wilma's actually going to do anything. I don't even know who Wilma is, but if he's calling her out, I can only assume that Wilma's not going to do anything. Like, these politicians sit there on their high horses and ivory towers and just have the people complain and come up and do this kind of stuff, and then they do nothing. They do absolutely nothing. Like, what is happening in red states right now, even in and people in red states are still having to wear masks. Like, what is happening with the GOP? Like, what are these people doing too? Like, it's so much weakness abroad all over our country that I am very worried. But I think that if more people like this guy, and it's not just him, and you get a coalition of people,
Exactly.
and all of you come, and you try and make a huge deal about it, because obviously 80 people dead out of 3 million people is ridiculous. 3.3 million people. You're going to tell me I have to go wear a mask inside of a Chipotle because of 80 people died out of 3.3 million? You are a psychopath.
Which, by the way, there's plenty of other deaths that are attributable to way more other factors that we're not freaking out about.
100,000 people die every single year from the flu. 100,000 people die every single year from the flu. How many people have died from COVID this year? I don't have the exact numbers, but I know that for young people, it is less than the flu would have been during a normal year, right? And we are now shutting everything down. No one says anything about the flu. That's totally fine. How can we live in a society where half of the population of America feels that any sort of danger in their lives is too much danger? Like, how can we have half of the population saying we want to be free, we want to be okay, we would rather have liberty over a little bit of over safety, and then you have half who say no, we have to be safe forever. We can never have any sort of danger.
I don't know. We kind of built this perfect storm in our society where we have a bunch of weak men, a bunch of weak women, low attention span men, low attention span women, and then they're completely fine with being complacent in sitting at home and watching Netflix and being on the internet and not being socially interactive with anybody in this world because nobody wants to talk to anybody of a differing opinion. So this lockdown was a brilliant test in how easy it is to condition a nation of people, really a world of people, because this is not just happening here in the United States. And you're going to have half of what the U.S. that is going to hopefully stand up and say, no, I'm not going to do it. And the other half, which will be completely fine with being stripped of their freedoms.
Look at Europe right now. I mean, they're going bananas. People in France, people in Italy. I think I saw them in Germany too, going all over. Like, there's a video of the guy in France, or the guys in France, who took that picture of Macron out of that town hall building and threw it out a window. Super based. Like, hopefully people in America, I'm not telling you guys to go storm your buildings, but what I am telling you is that your freedoms are probably going to be at stake. And if they lock us down again, I don't know what is going to happen in this country. And I'm worried.
Right.
I am genuinely worried. And I don't like to give you guys watching this a message of fear or anything like this. I want everyone to be hopeful. But it is troubling.
Oh, very troubling. I don't even know what would happen if that was the case in this country, if we re-entered another phase of lockdowns. I don't know.
I want to plan a rally here in Los Angeles. I would love to hear you guys. If you're in Los Angeles or anywhere in California, I want to plan a huge rally, a huge protest of what is going on in this place. I will for sure plan this. I will work with PragerU. I will work with Dennis. We will make a huge protest happen and try and get something done. So if you are in the Los Angeles area, please stay watching this show so we can give you guys the updates. I'm kind of just announcing this right now that I want to do this, but I really do. I'm sick of it.
It's that point. If you've been waiting to draw the line, like, now's the time to basically draw the line is what
Right.
is what I'm
Yeah, the time to draw the line was a real long time
honestly,
ago.
yeah, it was.
But we missed it.
Right.
I know.
And now we're here.
I know. We got to circle back. Pasky. We got to circle back to the line.
Well,
Like, the best
actually,
time to
circle
start
back.
fighting for your freedom was the moment they were first encroached upon, but the second best time is right now.
I know.
Right?
Moment to start fighting for your freedom was, I would say, I don't know, War of 1812. It's all been going downhill since then.
Not 1966, it's 1812.
No, that's true too. All of it.
But yeah, so what starts all of this is, again, not having an appreciation for freedom. We watched that Chris Cuomo interview yesterday, which if you didn't see the stream yesterday, go and check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. And this restaurant owner who says, I'm only going to serve the unvaccinated and I'm only going to serve people who don't want to wear masks, says to Chris Cuomo, I'm doing this because I value freedom. And Chris goes, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what you're talking about, essentially, is what he says. And it's because you need to instill the values of freedom and liberty at a very young age, which is what we're attempting to do here at PragerU with our program PragerU Kids. If you want to go and check it out, go to prageru.com/kids. You can sign up for prep for $25. And be a parent that is getting resources or an educator for your young children so that they can grow up with American values and a true American education.
For clarity, the content is all free, but our community, you get in for that one. I think it's a one-time or annual fee. We'll have to
25.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, just want to make sure you can access the content for free.
You can, and we're actually going to show you a piece of content. This is our story time, Otto's Tales, and this is our new episode called The Emperor's New Clothes. Let's check it out.
Welcome to Otto's Tales. Story time brought to you by PrEP, PragerU resources for educators and parents. I'm Jill, and today I'm going to share Hans Christian Andersen's famous and funny folktale that has a very important lesson for all of us to remember. Oh, thanks, Otto. Thanks, Otto. Kind of fun. Thank you, Otto. I'm good. It's called The Emperor's New Clothes. Once upon a time, there lived an emperor who loved fancy new clothes. Jackets woven with gold, trousers laced with silver, made with the softest and most lavish materials. The emperor spent his fortune buying new costumes for every hour of every day and rarely paid attention to his people, his army, or anything else.
Sounds a lot like the leadership we have now.
That is
Jeff
very,
Bezos,
very
is
true.
that you?
I don't know. Amala loves her fancy new clothes too.
I do love new clothes.
Empress's
If
new
I have a
clothes.
vice, it is definitely buying clothing.
That used to be my vice too. I like clothes, but now I'm much more like chill about it.
Now you wear T-shirts from rallies in 2004.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you guys want to find out what happens to the Emperor, go to PragerU.com, go to our kids page, and click watch. We have plenty of content for your young ones if you are a teacher or a parent. It's
He turns
so
into
important.
a llama. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Emperor's New Groove.
With Kronk. Yeah.
with
I was
Kronk.
about to say, no, that's the Emperor's New
With
Groove.
Kronk and Yzma.
Yeah.
And he's crying in the rain.
Yeah.
Spoiler
I
alert.
love that movie.
That
That's
is a
great
good movie. That is a good movie. But yeah, go check out our stuff. It's so important that we instill these values and just really a basic education with our kids these days, because that's not what they're getting in our public schools, unfortunately. Now, it is Fun Friday. I always have to remind you guys that it is Fun Friday, and we're going to play a game. We've played this on a previous stream. It's called Can We Make It Racist?
Yes, we can.
Where we took submissions from you guys of just random words. I've put together a little PowerPoint, and the goal in this game is to see who can find out how this particular object or being is racist. Now, the best one, the best explanation is going to get a point. We will tally the points at the end, and we will crown a winner.
What do we win?
You win my ultimate appreciation and respect.
I don't want that. That is
Free
not worth
vacation
it.
days, right, Marissa?
Yeah.
Right?
we don't
Right,
really
Marissa,
have-
wouldn't that be crazy?
Marissa's our CEO, by the
Yeah.
way. So let's get into Can We Make It Racist? Number one is beer. So you guys in the comments, you play as well. So write down how is beer racist, and then we will work to try and figure something out.
Who's voting? Tyler and Scott?
Yeah,
I guess
Tyler and
so.
Scott can
in
vote.
the audience, but
Okay.
And the audience.
we're ahead of them. So
Yeah.
We
yeah,
are ahead of
exactly.
you guys.
Um,
Beer. How do we make beer racist?
beer
Okay.
is racist because
Okay.
it was first created by white European cis hetero men,
Okay.
and they didn't serve it to black people before they served it to anyone.
Is that
you don't know
is
if
that
that's
historically accurate?
I think wasn't it like monks in like the 1500s who invented beer, or they brewed it? I
comes
know
in
they brewed
pints?
it.
Okay, that's
I
an
don't
interesting
know.
explanation, Taylor. I've got
I just
mine.
went out there, guys. It was too much awkward silence. I took
have
one for the
mine, too.
team.
Okay, you go.
You
wanna
want to go?
first?
You can go.
Okay. Beer is racist because when you pour beer, the white foam floats to the top above the colored drink.
That's what I was going
thought
to
about
say.
this
That's what
ahead of
I was
time.
going
I
to
did not
say.
think about
Yes,
this ahead
you
of time.
did.
I'm looking at the picture. There's white foam above this colored, although we're not supposed to say that word, drink. So I'm thinking there's a bit of racial hierarchy in this drink.
That's
my.
exactly what I was going to say. You took my
I
answer.
I
asked
don't
if you wanted
believe
to go
Will when he
first.
I know,
says
but
that's
ladies
exactly
first.
what I was
That's
gonna say.
exactly what I was
No,
going to
I don't.
say. I swear.
Okay, so now you have to think of something else, and you have. Do 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 do
I know. We need some music. for these.
Beer. Okay, listen. Beer makes you fat.
Okay.
And when it makes you fat, it makes you less desirable for the opposite sex. And so black
Well,
women
that is a
drink
loaded statement. I mean,
black women drink beer, and it makes them less desirable for people.
That's how it's racist.
first of all, fatness
You
is the
stole
new
mine,
cover of
Amala.
I did not
Cosmo.
You
steal
stole it.
Okay, let the record show, and you guys can rewind in the game. And I did ask Will, would you like to go first?
We didn't say can you make it fat phobic? Okay.
We
Birthing
said, can you
people
make it
first.
racist? So who wins, Tyler and not Taylor? You don't get to
Tyler
vote.
and-
Scott.
Tyler and Scott. Intern Tyler.
Amala wins. It's obvious.
Heck yeah.
I
All right,
would've
fine. I'm
won.
not going first next time. I'm
Okay.
going. I'm going to stop and think about the most obvious thing.
You have to
Okay.
go for the middle answer.
Yeah.
Next is hotels. How do we make hotels racist? Do 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 do.
Black people.
Okay. Wow, that was really quick. You just
No,
Ran
the
in there.
left thinks that throughout history that black people were elevator men. And so hotels were built as racist institutions to keep black people continually going down.
Oh,
On the
interesting.
elevator.
But they do go back up when they take residence
That's true.
up.
But only if they have the white people in it.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
I'm going to go with the nicest hotel rooms are at the top of the hotel. These are the penthouses. They are a sign of socioeconomic status. Black people, due to the remnants of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, gentrification, they have a historically lower socioeconomic status. Therefore, they'll never make it up to the penthouses that white people get to go to.
Unless they're the elevator man.
So hotels are racist.
That's a good try, but the real reason hotels are racist is because we have a housing crisis in America's large cities. And these billionaires with their hotel chains, Paris Hilton comes in and builds a big old hotel right in the middle of downtown where we could be building government housing projects, and that would house our minority communities. And
Interesting.
big hotel business is destroying. If we could only build more government housing, we would solve all of the world's problems and we would end racism. But it's these
Spoken.
greedy hotel corporations that
That's
are
hot.
taking away. Yeah, and that's why they're racist. They're perpetuating racism.
Okay, spoken like a true leftist. Tyler and Scott, place your votes. And you guys can vote differently. You guys don't have to vote on the same person.
This is a tough one, but I like Taylor's.
Okay.
All right. He said I like Taylor's, by the
Are
way.
you serious?
Yes.
Mine was the best.
Thank you, guys.
was a very close second.
Yeah, yours was
Wow.
creative,
Well,
but
At least
mine
we
was
know
more
Amala's
realistic.
was the worst.
You were right up there.
Yeah, Amala's was
Excuse me.
trash.
Mine was the most logical.
Yeah, all of them.
Nah.
They were all good.
Even Amala with cheating and seeing the answers before.
I'm
still
not
couldn't win.
I put this together so fast so that I did not come up with answers.
Oh, yeah, teacher, I only looked at the answer key for like 30 seconds, so I didn't cheat.
I don't know if we've done this one before, but the next one is paper.
I think we did do this before, but it's fine.
Did we?
I don't know. I can't think of what I said before.
Just of what you thought now looking at it before.
No, I haven't.
Paper.
Paper. How can we make paper racist?
Paper is clean, and the left thinks that paper is clean and pure and white. And as soon as you put your black ink on it, then you ruin the paper. And so it makes it so that black ink ruins clean whiteness.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
You got one? I got one.
That would make you racist towards white people, but I
No.
get the sentiment.
Paper is
Kind of.
totally white supremacist because it is used for reading and writing, and literacy rates among minority communities, according to the left, are lower than among white communities. Therefore, making paper needs to be abolished and burned to the ground along with our democracy
Gotcha.
because it perpetuates white supremacy. It's better that no one is able to read than white people have a slightly higher rate
Okay.
of literacy in their communities.
Fair enough. I'm going to get, the leftist term intersectional with my answer here. I'm thinking that you have to chop down trees to make paper, right? We all know that Black Americans specifically experience environmental racism. They're not chopping down the trees in white neighborhoods. They
They chop down the trees in my neighborhood.
They're chopping down. I got half the trees in my neighborhood chopped down. Now,
What are you talking about?
I'm half black.
They don't chop down any trees in any neighborhood.
Okay, I'm saying, but if they were going to,
If they were, they'd definitely chop down black
they chop
trees.
down the trees in the black neighborhoods, and then therefore black people have less oxygen being created, and it's just a symptom of environmental racism. That's my answer.
All right, guys, what's the vote?
I go Taylor on this one for sure. Yeah,
What?
if you had gone with like, oh, they were taking trees from the Amazon and the South
Ah.
American people, that may have gotten you.
Yeah, I was thinking.
For those of you who didn't hear that, Scott said if you had said that we were taking trees from the Amazon and the natives.
Natives
Yeah.
aren't
In the
black
Amazon.
in the Amazon, no.
Can we make
be
it racist?
racist towards
Oh, yeah.
people who aren't black?
I forgot.
So
It's working. The indoctrination on me is working. There is no racism except
That's
against
hilarious.
black people.
okay.
I'm gonna give myself a point for that one.
Well, I'm not tallying it on the board. So next one.
Unanimous vote.
Can we make it racist? Quicksand. This one's actually
Quicksand.
difficult.
could be a derogatory term for Muslim people. And so it could be...
What are you saying? Change
know.
the answer. Change the answer.
I don't get how, what, anyway. I don't know. I don't have anything on this one yet.
I'm going to say, in the movies when there's quicksand, right? Normally there's like a big sign that says like, well, obviously there's a sign in this picture. Danger, quicksand, you know? I'm going to piggyback off of Taylor's answer of the lower literacy rates in minority communities. So you are essentially setting up black and brown people to die in quicksand.
Oh, I got one.
It's racist.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty close, but the real answer is that there's a stereotype out there, a racist stereotype, that black people can't swim as well. You're like, oh, you know, I got it.
You can't swim in quicksand anyway.
Disproportionate number
no matter your
of
race.
black individuals will struggle and drown in quicksand than people of other races because of that stereotype, according to leftists. So quicksand is racist because it disproportionately drowns black people.
Interesting, interesting. Will?
Mic drop. Let me drop this.
I don't like sand.
You don't like sand?
It's rough and coarse and
That's
it gets
interesting.
everywhere.
Okay. Well,
But not
That was a
like
Star
here.
Wars reference, Amala. He's just quoting,
Yeah, come
quoting
on,
Anakin
Amala.
Skywalker.
I heard you gave my answer.
All right.
I don't have it.
Will doesn't have one.
I
Let's
do
keep
have
moving.
one. I gave one.
so Tyler, Scott, place your votes.
Come to Papa.
Gosh,
This is-
Taylor has 3
I am-
points.
I am
Will
once
is
again
0.
giving myself a vote. Unanimously.
You can't do that, Will.
He just found a batch at midnight. Found a batch of vote for himself.
He
Stop the
covered
count.
up covered up the polling site windows and
Yeah.
was just like putting his own
Yeah,
votes in.
a big trash can comes in at 2 in the morning.
He's
full of
dumping
my
he's dumping
votes.
Taylor's votes in the river. Okay, next. Guitars. Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm not going first this time. I always go first, and then I always
Okay.
lose.
Guitars. I have to think about this for a
Taylor, you go
second.
first since
All
you
right.
won.
Guitars are racist because traditional African instruments are more percussion based, and they didn't have guitars, or white people crafted guitars with all their elaborate country music songs and Gibson places
That is a
in Nashville
horrible
malls
answer.
where you can watch these guys do their craft, and it's racist because we should just be content with percussion instruments. of
That is
Africans.
horrible. Horrible answer, Taylor. If you win this round, the election is rigged.
It's definitely rigged.
It's rigged.
Okay.
Look, I'm just enjoying my dominion of this segment right now.
I play guitar. I'm going to go for an abstract, nuanced answer here. You know, sometimes you play guitar, you have the metal strings, and sometimes those strings snap. And when they snap, they lash your hand. And I don't know about you white boys, but when that happens to me, I get vivid flashbacks of
Slavery.
1860 and slavery. So I think the fact that guitars are made with metal strings that slash black people's hands is really perpetuating generational trauma. It's racist.
It's good.
I know it's good. You
was
don't have
alright.
to tell me.
Wow. I'm
don't
going to
have to tell me.
say guitars, black people started rock and roll, and then people like Elvis came around with his guitar and stole rock and roll from black people, making guitars racist.
Okay, Scott, Tyler, I know I won.
Yeah, I think we'll.
I know I won that.
Dang.
My answer was so creative.
Yeah, but mine was actually real. That's like something people actually say.
Mine is real. I experience it.
Look at these hands.
Are you
Stop being a
invalidating?
victim, Amala.
Are you two white men invalidating my black experience?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, you guys
Your half
win.
black
You guys
experience?
win because you are both racist.
That's the
Okay,
idea.
so Will gets a point here.
Fine.
I mean, a stolen point, definitely, but I'm going to put it down because I'm a woman of my word.
Hey, white man stole the native's land, stole the points from the black girl.
Right?
Par for
What
the
else can I
course.
steal today?
What else can you steal?
Playing mini golf
You going to
later.
steal some hearts? Well,
Potentially.
potentially.
Yeah.
You're still thinking about it?
I got to see what Tyler's doing later tonight.
Next one on Can We Make It Racist? Butter. I feel like we've done this one too, but I don't remember.
I don't think we've done this one.
Okay, butter. Oh, let's think about this. Do 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 do.
Butter.
Can we make it racist?
I think I have one.
Okay.
You all know I can't believe it's not butter.
Mm-hmm.
This black people, according to the left, have been lied to for centuries by white people.
Okay.
So when something like I can't believe it's not butter comes out, it's just another lie that white leftists want to tell to black people
I'm being
about
taken on a
something else, you know?
Okay.
So they're being lied to because they can't believe it because they've been lied to
Oh, okay.
because they're black.
Okay. That's, I mean, that you're really fishing there. I mean, grasping at straws on that one. Taylor, do you have anything? I don't have anything yet. I'm still thinking.
Oh, if I say mine, you're just going to springboard off of it.
I'm not.
Steal it.
What?
All right.
Only white men steal things.
Wow.
Not me.
Okay. So, once upon a time, we had an institution called slavery in America.
Never heard of her.
In case you didn't notice, it's on every billboard and school book. Should be the first page that we see.
Can you get to the point?
Well, butter requires something called churning, and that is a lot of manual physical labor. And guess who did all the hard labor in slave-owning households?
You guys are really reaching.
This is such a this is a very
Mine
clear
was
connection.
obvious. You
guys are
this
really
is a clear
reaching.
connection. So when black people see butter in grocery stores, it's reminiscent of their ancestors
so you
that had
just-
to churn the white man's butter
You're
in
really
their houses.
springboarding off of my guitar answer.
Whatever. This is a very look. There's
Mine
historical trauma here. I need you to be more sensitive to the people like you that are listening. I am offended on their behalf. You are not acting black enough right now.
Okay, guys, let me give my my answer here.
See, you're going to springboard off of mine.
I'm
You
not
didn't
gonna
have one before I said that.
I am not
That's
going to
exactly
springboard
right.
off your answer. It's actually going to have no relation to your answers because both of your answers kind of suck.
Mine can't be
Mine
topped.
was great.
Mine was
Here's
Mine
mine.
was perfect. Research.
You're going to make, I don't know, pancakes, something of that matter. You go and put the butter in the pan. You're
You don't
cooking
put
the butter.
in a pan for pancakes.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do.
No.
Yes,
No,
you do. And
use
Tyler and
cooking
Scott are
spray.
confirming that you use butter. Okay.
No.
You definitely use butter. Anyways, for anything that you're gonna cook, doesn't matter what you're gonna cook. If you're putting butter in your pan, okay, say you're just seasoning a steak and you put some butter and garlic in there, okay, Will?
Okay.
Is that better?
That's better.
Scenario for you?
Yeah.
As the butter cooks, you can get to the point where you burn the butter and it just doesn't taste as good anymore. And for some reason, when you burn the butter, it turns brown and it turns black. Are you saying that brown and black people are bitter? And why is it that when butter turns brown or black that it tastes worse? Racist.
It's a natural chemical
Anything
reaction.
anything that burns gets charred.
So it's all
Yeah,
racist.
you could use that for all.
So it's all
every single
racist.
answer.
I know.
It's not a good answer.
It is a great answer.
It's a horrible answer.
It is a great
Mine
answer.
was obviously the best.
No, it was not.
It was creative.
Tyler,
Will's was
Scott-
the best besides mine.
Taylor's was the best.
You guys
besides
are
mine.
both made horrible examples. I gave
All
a
right.
real world
So
example.
tell it to the gallery.
If somebody had gone like the Land O'Lakes route, Land O'Lakes or
Oh, that was too on the nose. I thought of that, but I was
Yes.
like, no,
Okay,
that's too on
Tyler
the
and
nose.
Scott are saying to use the Land of Lakes route, which none of us did,
or the health issue.
or the health issue.
They use a lot of butter down south, and
Paula Dean is a racist.
Scott, you
She's
really
trying
need to get
kill
on the
us.
mic here.
Yeah, you guys gotta, like, when you talk, come into frame or something. 'Cause
Yeah.
Anyway, people want to see hot Scott. Anyways,
Yes.
And
give the
intern
people what
Tyler.
they want.
Give the people what they
I
want.
gotta give this. I gotta give this one to. I gotta give it to Will. Honestly.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Mine was by far the best.
Do you
I
guys
told
steal?
you.
Do you even
We need a
remember
total
Will's
and complete
answer?
shutdown of this voting system
Until we can figure out what the hell is going on.
Tyler, double down. Double down on it.
No.
No.
Tyler,
Tyler.
bring some sanity back to this podcast,
Tyler.
please.
It's me.
So we have a split decision.
Okay.
I'm giving my point to Taylor.
That's right.
All right, I'll take one. I'll take
I'm
what I can
surrounded by white
I'll
men
take
and
what I
all
can.
of them are racist. All of them are racist. I should have won this game by default. Affirmative action. This is just, I'm over it. Anyways,
3/5 of the points.
so
Amala, you're gonna get redistributed points and
Yeah.
reparations at the end of this
I
anyway, so
better.
it's fine.
I better. Okay, next. Ghosts.
That's, I mean,
Easy.
yeah. Well, you can take that one. I'll think of something more creative.
Go.
Okay.
No, he's like, dang it.
Yeah, I'm like, dang it, maybe I want to think about it. Okay, ghosts. Ghosts, like, they're a bed sheet. You know, you got a ghost, ghastly phantom, and it's covered in a bed sheet.
Mm-hmm.
What does that remind you of? The KKK. Ghosts.
That's pretty good.
Remind black people of the KKK, and so they are racist. They're created to scare black people.
Right.
I'm feeling good on this one, guys.
Okay. That was pretty good. Taylor, I don't have one yet for this.
Me neither.
Was that your answer?
Go ahead, Amala.
Was your answer the KKK?
No.
Oh, well, I thought you said you had one. You said
Yeah,
it was
you said
easy.
you had one.
Well, like, no, I'm not going to say what it was because it's not good enough. You go on.
He got
Okay.
nervous.
Hold on, I have to think about this.
Little stage fright.
I don't know.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, go for it.
Okay.
Similar, but not the same.
Okay.
So ghosts are stereotypically, think Casper, think this little icon. They're white. And what do ghosts do? They instill fear and subjugation in their victims. And so ghosts are white supremacists because they enforce fear on black people and people of color, and they keep them down in submission to white people and their whiteness. So it's building up whiteness in their minds by this fear of ghosts.
I don't really have an answer for this, so I'm just going to make something up. Ghosts are typically people that have unresolved problems in their lives, and they can't either ascend to heaven or descend into hell. They're just stuck in what some may call the in-between. Because black people were enslaved, and because of the racism that we experience in this country, we constantly have problems in our life that we cannot solve. Therefore, black people are disproportionately becoming ghosts.
I think that was the worst answer of the whole game.
I fell asleep halfway through.
I couldn't think of
exactly.
anything.
That was pretty terrible.
I would rather encounter a real ghost than listen to that again.
Yeah. I mean, it was still better than Taylor's answer.
Oh, yeah. He was just threatened by mine, so he's trying to talk it down.
Tyler and Scott, place your votes.
Mine goes to Will.
What?
Okay, Tyler said Will.
Oh,
I gotta give it to Taylor.
thank you.
What the hell,
What
Scott?
is happening?
Definitely be an answer that.
More creative.
I'm just getting
the KKK, the hood, the
I'm
ghost.
just
That's
getting
so obvious.
What do you mean?
So
blitzkrieged
obvious.
in this game. This is horrible.
Do you guys believe in ghosts, for the record? question.
At the moment, I don't know. Agnostic towards ghosts.
William?
Yeah.
Taylor?
No.
Interesting.
We're all across the whole spectrum here.
Wow, we are across the whole spectrum. Yeah, I'm an agnostic ghost believer.
You see, they're making the.
I don't
new
believe in stuff that's
Ghostbusters
not in the
movie
Bible.
Again.
What'd you say?
They're making the new Ghostbusters movie again. It looks horrible.
Oh,
Didn't
why
they
would
just make
do
it with
that?
like all women?
Yeah, but
Yes,
now they're
they did.
Nobody
now
watched
they're doing,
it.
That was the remake. That was like the reboot. This is like a, I don't know. What do you call it? Sequel to the
Sequel
second.
to the second.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
well,
got
it looks
like Rick
horrible.
Moranis and Bill
Not
Murray
gonna
and stuff
watch
in
it.
No,
Oh.
they're dead. Apparently, or maybe they'll come. I don't know.
Next one. Can we make it racist? Coughing. I don't know. This is so much more difficult than our first game.
Oh, I got one.
Go
Okay,
for it.
Go.
Coughing is a symptom of being sick with something like COVID-19. And our
Potentially.
minority communities, yeah, you didn't cough at all when you had COVID. Anyways,
Oh yeah, I had it forever.
and yeah, our minority communities are disproportionately suffering from COVID-19. So coughing is racist because it's a symptom of the disease that's impacting them because they have the low-paying jobs that make them go out to serve the white man in all their places, and they have to expose themselves to the risk of being infected more, and it leads to higher rates of infection in their communities, and so they cough more, and coughing is racist.
Okay. I have no clue. This is really difficult.
Coughing.
This is
Coughing.
really so.
This one's not about black people. This one's for
Okay.
Not the Pokemon.
okay. Yeah, coughing
Ekans.
and wheezing.
Ekans and coughing.
Muck. Grimer. Okay. Poison types. Okay. No. Coughing. Okay. When you cough, what comes out? Germs.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds you of Germany. Jewish people.
What?
They don't like Germany.
What?
That was creative. I'll give you that.
Okay. I'm gonna go.
Dang.
I'm gonna go
Should've went
not
with the
not a
Pokemon.
black person route. I'm gonna go Native American route. and say...
Do not make a peace pipe joke right now.
Smallpox.
I'm going to say that when the Europeans came over to America and they met the Native Americans, they essentially coughed all over them and killed all of the natives. So anytime a Native American in this country hears a cough, it's generational trauma from them being genocided by the Europeans.
I'm going to go last one of these times and adapt something off of yours. You're just adapting stuff off of mine.
What did
And
I adapt
mine.
off of you?
And definitely Will's.
What
You
did
totally
I adapt off of
You
you?
stole mine.
I stole your Germany.
Stop the steal.
Hashtag
I
stop
stole
the
your
steal.
Germany, your Germany example.
Anyways,
Tyler,
what do
Scott.
you think, guys?
I think Amala had the best one, but other than me.
Will's just trying to cut me down now because I'm in the lead.
Exactly.
I finally got another point.
Split the vote.
Nice.
Coughing is violence is a good answer.
Coughing
Yeah.
is violence.
Wheezing is violence too.
Thank you.
When it uses smoke screen or sludge bomb.
Sludge bomb.
Okay, guys. Can we make it racist? Forest fires. I believe this is the last one.
Okay.
Oh no, there's one. There's more.
Okay.
Forest fires. Forest fires.
I think I have one.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be really bad.
Okay, go for it. I have one that's really bad too.
Okay. In a lot of rap songs, black people talk about burning trees.
Okay.
You know.
Do they?
You know,
Oh,
we burn
burning trees.
you know, we
Okay,
burn
got it, got
trees.
it.
So, because of that, when forest fires
Guys, I don't get it.
happen-
What does burning trees mean?
I've never done
Never
weed.
heard of
The
her.
devil's
do?
lettuce,
Yeah.
the sin spinach,
Do you
the
think doing
Peruvian
alcohol is cool?
parsley.
But they're burning trees, and so then when forest fires happen, they say, "Oh, this is the same as black people burning trees."
Okay, I'm gonna
The
go.
setup to that was promising, and then you just totally.
Yeah,
overdo it.
I couldn't finish.
Yeah, that was horrible. I'm going to say often when forest fires occur, we know this in California, you have what some might call a forced relocation, where you can no longer stay where you are. For Native Americans, this is really reminiscent of the Trail of Tears.
That's
And
true.
forest fires are extremely racist for forcing anybody to move off their land. Essentially, forest fires act as white supremacists and steal land.
Okay, well, here's the deal with forest fires, though. The people who are affected by forest fires are white people, and they need to be displaced from their lands because people who are white live in forested areas more than people of color who tend to live in densely populated
Speaking
urban
of
areas.
piggybacking,
Well, I actually already had this. So the whole, but the reason why
I've had this the whole time.
I promise I did.
Building it up.
The reason why forest fires are racist is because they're a white person's problem. They're the problem of which white people or rural white people, who we don't care about, and they deserve to be displaced from their lands.
oh, I
And
definitely
so
won that.
All of these were all pretty bad.
people who are
All right.
concerned
But I
about
think-
forest fires are white people, and that's why they're racist. We
I
should
think
not worry.
mine
about
was
them.
definitely the best.
I definitely won
Pulling
that.
from
Okay, Tyler
cultural-
and Scott,
Not only did I make a good one, I debunked
you did
Amala's
not
in the
make a
same
good
breath.
one.
So
You did not.
that, you know.
If
I
anything, they'd
pulled
be racist
cultural
towards white people,
relevancy.
which is impossible. You can't be racist towards white people according to the
I
left.
know, but they're a concern of white people, and that's why they're racist, because we don't need to concern ourselves with the concerns of white people.
No.
Bam.
Tyler, Scott, I know I won.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take
Thank you
Oh
so
my
much.
What do you
gosh.
mean I'm
I
one?
totally.
Oh.
I destroyed her whole argument.
You
It was
really
so
did
good.
I,
You can't be racist
I
towards
lit your
white
argument
people.
on fire and burned it to the ground.
I burned the trees of her argument.
As white people so often do. With your gender reveal parties.
Forest fire of lies.
Next one, airplanes. I personally am already traumatized by airplanes, so I already feel as though they're racist, but I'll come up with an
Is
example.
this picture scaring you?
It is scaring me. I'm triggered, as the left would say.
Okay. Airplanes are racist because they facilitate travel and the expansion of whiteness and the patriarchy across the country and the world. And they are the reason we had colonialism expand more. They
Reaching.
were used by white people first to dominate the world and win wars and exert their white privilege and white supremacy over everyone. So planes are racist.
Okay. Well, anything?
You won the last one. You have to go before me.
Oh, I have to go before you?
So
okay.
I can piggyback off.
Okay. Let me think about this.
There should also be a bonus for going first. I feel like there should be a bonus for coming up with something right away and
Next
just going
time.
for it. So
I went first so
just
many
keep that in
times. I would
mind,
definitely be
judges.
winning.
We
Yeah,
will
can go
keep that in
back.
mind at a later date.
I don't think Amala went first once.
I have gone first. I think. I don't remember which one I went first on,
I would
but
like my
did.
bonus points.
Let me see.
Reparations.
You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of famous airplane pilots. What are the two brothers' names?
Orville
Well,
Redenbacher.
Orville Redenbacher. They are Orville, right? The Orville brothers?
No, the Wright brothers.
The Wright brothers.
Redenbacher's is popcorn.
I know Redenbacher's
I know.
popcorn. The Wright brothers, Amelia Earhart, Captain Sullenberger, all of them are white people. I have yet to hear about a famous black pilot. So really, airplanes are facilitating.
Tuskegee Airmen?
Yeah. There's
Anyone?
a lot of.
Well, I haven't heard of them.
Well, I haven't heard of them, so it must be racist.
Oh,
So
no.
airplanes are facilitating white supremacy. That's my answer.
You had it going there for a while. And you just,
Yeah, you guys shouldn't have debunked me. You should have just let it go.
just crashed
No.
that plane.
Yeah, you
over the
crashed
monument.
and burned that plane.
As black people often do, according to the left.
What? No, it didn't say that.
I know they didn't.
Black people crash planes.
Fly, yes. Land,
Okay.
no.
Yeah. Planes.
Indiana
Okay.
Jones.
If you want to get on a plane, I saw this on a tweet the other day. If you
Just spit it out.
If black people sit in first class on a plane, then apparently all of the white people are annoyed with them for sitting in first class because they're black. This was a real tweet. This really happened. There was this black lady who said, me and my 10 girls, we're all sitting in first class. She was black. And all these white people were looking at us. They were basically saying the N-word in their minds when they were looking at us.
Okay. Well, that was
Cool story, bro.
very anecdotal.
It's not my story. Well, it is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is actual reality.
Tyler and Scott.
It's got to go to Taylor.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
That's got to be a W for.
The final tally is that Taylor Trandle comes in at first place with 5 points. Amala comes in at a strong second with 3 points, and Will completely and utterly fails and starts a forest
I didn't
fire.
get 2 points.
With 2 points, you got 2
No
points.
way I got 2
You got
points. I
one-
got wait. There's no way
You
that you
did.
beat me.
You got-
especially in the bonus
You
rounds.
got 1 full point.
Is Will competitive,
is-
guys? I can't tell.
This is not true.
Will got 1
No.
full
Steal.
point, and he got 2 half points. And you can go and check the record. You can
No.
set me straight. That's exactly what happened. There were two
Amala
games.
got affirmative action points.
I did not. I got
This
good
is
answer
a
points.
travesty.
As the winner of this competition, I'm going to actually redistribute my winnings to Amala because she is a black female.
Oh,
and
yeah.
black people, apparently, according to the left, cannot achieve things on their own, nor can women, and they need men to identify as women to
It feels
win
good
things
to
for
be
them.
me.
So I'm just going to hand off my winnings to Amala and enjoy my woke points.
I was trying to look up the Joe Rogan meme where he goes up to losers with his microphone and do it to Will, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't find it
I'm
in
not a
time.
loser.
So funny.
I won. I don't care what anyone says. And me and my lawyer team are going to come back and take this election.
Oh, are you?
I
Because all
promise.
your cases have been thrown out already.
Well, it's
Will, your
liberal
camera's getting
media.
a little fuzzy over there. I think you're being censored. I got the mic over here. I can mute your mic. You're saying unapproved information.
Yeah,
you're
what?
not allowed to raise those questions.
Well, anyways, guys, that's been Fun Friday. Please like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every day when we go live at 2:30 PST, 5:30 Eastern. If you would like to join Prager Force and you are a high school student, college student, or a young professional below the age of 35, go to pragerforce.com and sign up. You could possibly be on the show in an interview with Will and I. You can get involved with other like-minded conservatives, and you can work on other PragerU content and network with people whose skills you might need. If you'd like to get a live update sent to your phone when we go live, text live to 41776, and eventually, once we get the system up and running, you will get a text to notify you when our faces are on the internet. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back on Monday.
Appreciate all of you so much.
Have a great
That was the driest. I appreciate all of you so much.
Please stay strong out there, people of Earth.
Turning emotional connection from 75 to 15%.
All right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Remember to make everything racist as much as you possibly can.
As we all do.
Good.
Bye.